That's, I think, facilitated things at the school level, and we've given approximately half of the money available for implementation to schools to use as they see fit. And most of them are using them to free teachers up to look at other classes in the district and occasionally outside of the district. The other half of the money has gone for a centralized approach, and that's, I think, where a lot of the sharing has come in, and that we've had 5 days where we get half of our primary teachers to come together in the morning and the other half in the afternoon, sometimes on a school basis, sometimes on a early primary, late primary basis. Some of those meetings have been facilitated by outside expertise and some by inside expertise. So there's been, I think, quite a bit of sharing in that regard, either through classroom visitations or these district-wide days.
The third grant was a grant to encourage parents as partners. Research tells us that children learn better and more quickly when there's an active partnership between the teacher and the parent. And we also know that we can't make major organizational change in our schools without the support of parents and the public. So many districts have done some very creative things to involve parents in the schools and in this change particularly.
I think another critical issue that we're going to face in terms of implementation is adequate information of parents. And our schools have a good working relationship with their parent groups and a lot of involvement of parents. But we felt that it was crucial to keep them appraised of where we were going. And our meetings last spring, the meetings this year in the year 2000 paper, the meetings that the staffs had with parents to talk about assessment, etc., have all been tremendously important. And I think as a result, we enjoy strong community support. I'm not saying that there aren't parents who will question, etc., but I think we've really got to pay serious attention to making sure that our parents are as informed as we can make them.
We still have some work to do to help parents understand what we are doing and why we believe it's a better program for children. We still have some work to do in helping them understand that replacing some of our former practices and reporting with newer practices that are based on actual student work, learner profiles, if you like, using the technical term we're using, and the basic evidence that teachers will collect to demonstrate what students can do is a better way to report, and we need to make them comfortable about that.
Parents have a number of concerns right now about the primary program. We've actually have visited, I'd say, 90% of the schools in our district, and I've kept a list of the top 10 questions that parents ask. And one of them that does come up frequently is, you know, will my child be getting the same academic support, and will they come out knowing how to spell, and will they be able to read, or are you simply going to let them move along at their own speed and that they could get lost or fall between the cracks or something like that. And so we spend a lot of time reassuring parents that, of course, academics, you know, will be highlighted with children as they always are, and it's not that we let them move along at their own rate, that we know children have always developed at different rates, and we simply take them where they're at and move them along and help move them along to the next place. But it is a real concern for parents where they stand academically. And another thing that I've noticed from a number of parents is that the parent who feels their child is very bright and that they are already coming in reading and that they know their alphabet and they know all of this stuff, that, you know, can they move through the program faster? And so we have to make it very clear that, number one, there's 5 goals to the program, and intellectual is only one of them, and that we have to be concerned with all of the goals of the program. And that, number 2, you don't have to move into another classroom to be able to be doing academically what you need to be doing. If you're reading grade 2 material in a K class, then that's the material you'll be reading. So that's one of the main concerns of parents right now.
My friend did. Joey in the morning. Joey in the morning.
I think in our district right now we are feeling successes. Naturally, not without some speed bumps. And speed bumps really are the amount of time that we have to devote to networking together. But the successes are so great, and there's actually an a level of enthusiasm among our teachers. And I think that there is a feeling out there that the ministry, in granting the money to the schools and to the teachers, to the stakeholders, they would call it, have in fact created a network at the grassroots level that's now, we could probably call them shareholders. And these shareholders are meeting on a regular basis, and they are talking about the pedagogy in their classroom, and there's a tremendous amount of excitement. And I'm looking forward to next year.
Well, I think the peaks and valleys will be determined to a large degree by the nature of the teachers in a particular district, what their philosophic stance is at a given time. But for us, I think one of the first things we had to listen to really carefully is the frustration of really excellent teachers trying to implement the program when they have this vision of where they want to be and where they feel they may are at the present time. I think sometimes there's a concern that I'm here and I'd really like to be there, and that can be really frustrating. And I think it's really important to really be as supportive as you can at a time like that. I mean, we're going to get to where we want to be. We just have to take the time. And I guess that's one concern I have, is that sometimes we might set up unrealistic expectations as to the length of time we're going to give ourselves to implement something. And I think that probably does more damage to implementation generally than anything. I think we just have to be patient.
We hope that our transition from a primary program into the intermediate and on into the graduation will be able to follow the model that we've worked on so far, that is partly organizational and partly working with the stakeholders. In our district, we've already set up an intermediate steering committee and a graduation steering committee. We hope that by putting that organizational structure in, we'll have a way for people to express their concerns, their positive feelings, to respond to issues that arise.
The primary program is already well underway, and we started purposely with the primary program for just that reason. Our primary teachers here in British Columbia have been using many of the strategies that the Royal Commission recommended for a number of years. So there's a good solid base to start from. As those children move into the primary program, and we expect it to be fully implemented by 1993 or 1994, as those children move out of the primary program, they will move into the intermediate and graduation programs, and there will then be a natural evolution in those programs as children who are prepared in a different way move into the more senior grades. So we see the primary program as the heartbeat or the pulse of the Royal Commission direction, and will provide a really solid foundation for the changes in the system.
There's a feeling among many that it's supposed to be in place in a year or two, and obviously it's not going to be in place in a year or two. I think as long as we focus on this being a slow, a gradual program, where indeed by year 2000 we'll see the program being implemented, that I think that it will be accepted by our community without any reservation. Many parents at the present time ask the question, are children indeed guinea pigs to a particular program at the present time? And we just simply need to reassure them that there's a slow transitional change that will ultimately find its fruition sometime in the year 2000.
I think we can all be very proud in British Columbia that we have taken what is the best in early education and have incorporated it into a program called the Primary Program in BC. And many people across all of North America are looking seriously at the kinds of things that are being practiced in British Columbia and will be practiced over the next 3 to 4 years. And I strongly believe that we will see total success of the implementation of the primary program.
I see the primary initiatives within the primary program taking 20 years, at least, to internalize. I foresee the day where we have a system where all children can feel successful. One just needs to be at kindergarten classroom when the doors first open, when these kids first come to school. They've already learned the most difficult task they're ever going to learn in their educational lives. They've learned to speak. They've learned to communicate in the English language. That's far more difficult than any of the things that we teach them. Now, they've learned that at home in an environment which is encouraging, which is repetitive. It allows them to repeat. It enjoys their failure and celebrates their failures and their success, because that's how kids learn to speak, by getting a response from parents. When these kids enter kindergarten, there's not a thing that they can't do. They've been successful in their minds at absolutely everything they've done. I see the day, and I guess this is my dream, my vision, when we can maintain an atmosphere in our schools which encourages the same kind of progress, which allows kids to try, to not be successful, but to try again and not be labeled a failure. I see a system which celebrates the child as an individual, which encourages children to work cooperatively, to celebrate and to enjoy each other, and to learn at a rate which suits them as a person without feeling that there are some people, because they are better achievers intellectually and academically, that somehow it makes them a better person, that somehow if I can't achieve a level academically like someone else, that I'm a failure, that maybe I'm no good, or maybe there's something wrong with me. Now that's a long-term goal. But I see the start that we've made with the primary program and coming with the intermediate program. I see the day when we have a system where all kids enjoy legitimate success. And I'm excited about that.
I used to have a little skunk. I used to have a little skunk. He liked to sleep right under my bunk, but every morning it really stunk. Sing in the spring, sing in the fall, sing when I hear my baby call. Sing all day, all night too. Hush your crying and I'll sing for you. I used to have a turtle named Fred. I did that one, didn't I? Oh, I will do the other one. Wait a minute. I used to have a crocodile. I used to have